Hello all and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the startup process of the nuclear reactor in this game Nuclearis. Let's jump in. So here we are in the control room of our nuclear facility. Now if like me you're no nuclear scientist and the sight of all these screens and buttons overwhelm you and you don't really have the time to browse through the 176 pages of the user manual that comes with this game, hopefully this video will give you the very basics of understandings with how to get the nuclear reactor powered up from idle to pumping enough steam through to the generators, which in turn will get the power onto the grid. So what we'll do first and foremost is hit the tab key to go onto the COM page to tell the electrical grid that we intend to start up the system. What will then happen in a few moments is that they will acknowledge that, like so. Back into tab to bring up the tablet, and that's just notification there that they have received our instructions, shall we say. So moving around, again, this video isn't going to be a tutorial on how everything in this control room works, only the basics. And for this video we're not going to need to worry about anything on here. In short, they are valves for various parts of the circulation systems, but again we don't need to worry. What we do need to do first and foremost for each of these panels is activate via clicking on the activate handles there. That will enable each control panel to power up, and I like the way that you've got little animations that show that they're coming to life. So there are a number of these to do, and we'll just jump around the control room very quickly, doing that for each panel, and the final one just there. So again, through this blast window you're able to have an oversight of the reactor hall, and if you haven't guessed already, the reactor is down there. You can just see the glow of the core, but everything else you can oversee from there. You can see the barrier there, that is the chemical room, and for the sakes of this video we haven't got the chemical module activated. That adds huge complexity to the game. So again, if you wanted to get a basic understanding of the systems and how they all work, this video is intending to do just that without the complexity. So again, that space there is also the huge control panel for the various chemical modules. So the first thing then, now that we've instructed the power company that we intend to switch on, is we come over here and we switch the operation mode. So from shutdown to nominal, what that will mean is we can press the insert core button there, which will give us a little animation there to suggest that has happened. So we're going to hit both these switches here. This will power up the heating elements for the pressurizer, and as you can see from this graph here, it's coming to life. You'll also see that this dial starts to spin round, which, how this works briefly, is it heats the water within this system, causing various pressure, and then over on this screen, for optimal flow, we need that to be roughly around 160 there. It is worth bearing in mind, however, that this game is an early access game and is constantly being tweaked and changed. So the version of this game that I'm currently recording this video on will be in the video description. So things may look and operate differently on various upcoming versions, so just bear that in mind. So the vessel pressure there is increasing, and whilst that is doing that, we'll just activate the condenser pump there, and what that will do then is pump in some of the water from our primary coolant tank over there and start to load up the level in the condenser there. So currently 10,000. You can probably hear just in the background there that the pump is starting to power up. The issue we have with this game is that it does take a while for both power up and power down. So just factor that in when activating various systems. We're also going to hit the vacuum pump just so we can start to cause a vacuum in the system. And that is rather quickly to come to life. And that'll spin around to 100% shortly. I generally find that once this is around the 19,000 mark, you can switch it off and that will just sit just after the 20,000 level, which works rather nicely. Still priming up there. It's worth considering this game. Try not to leave switches on too much in the case of, for example here, if you was to leave that on and it sort of filled the condenser full, you would basically burn out the pumps and things like that. So just bear that in mind. So that's coming up to the 20,000 there, so I'm happy with that. We can switch that off there. And then we'll just activate the circulation pumps and we'll hit that medium key.
The reactor core coolant has started to circulate.
So the circulation pumps are coming to life. We're just going to hit the tab key again and just check in here. So that's telling us we can confirm operations at 10 o'clock and the in-game time there is 09:46. So again, in terms of power generation, it is worth just bearing in mind that once the steam starts to be generated, it's going to chuck it straight into the power generation turbine. So that will start to break our generator / resistor bank. So what we'll do is, in anticipation of that, we'll just crank that up to around the 50% mark there. And again, it will take some time for that to open up. So, I think then we are fairly ready. We'll just hit the vacuum pump to the off position. And then what we do is we come over to this dial here. And we're going to hit 90. We'll get the on-screen animation with the sound. And what we'll start to see is the internal temperature there slowly but surely start to raise. Now once that passes the 55 degree mark, that's then when we enter our critical mass state, where the temperature will really sort of rocket. You'll also see an animation at the 55 degree mark, just showing that we are critical. And here we are. So the nuclear reactivity has now commenced. As you can see, we are now at 90 degrees, climbing very, very high. So you can see the reactivity there is supercritical, and ideally we need to keep that in the green as a stable reactive state. The optimum temperature here is around 360. So that will continue to rise there, as will the temperature. So temperature is currently 200 degrees in the steam generator. So to combat that, we're going to enable our secondary coolant flow, which will take it from the steam generator into the condenser cycle. And that noise there you've heard now suggests that the generator is going to start to turn, producing electricity. So we're going to switch on the resistor bank. That just absorbs some of the surplus electricity. We need that to sort of stabilize, and we're also then going to switch on the condenser circuit, and we'll hit that 25% button. So again, this is still priming up to hit the 50% mark. But yeah, we need that to stay relatively as cool as we can keep it, so it doesn't boil off too much. And now we are over the 10 o'clock mark. The grid has instigated starting, so we're not necessarily going to be penalised for outputting onto the grid at this stage. So there you can see it is rotating in terms of the generator, slowly but surely, but we do need to try and stabilise that, and in order to do so we're just going to drop this down a few figures. The synchroscope we shall look at in just a second. And there we go, the figure is starting to rise in terms of our generator. So we're going to come over here before the alarm goes, and we're going to hit 99 on that. The danger alarm is just going to indicate that our internal core temperature is too hot, so we'll acknowledge that there. And now we've raised that to 99. As you can see, we are just under smack bang middle of the green, so that would suggest that our reactivity is on the cool side, so that will start to cool off ever so shortly. So focusing now more so on this generator here. That will start to stabilise. So we are over the 5,000 figures. I'm just going to open that back up again, because we don't want to overheat the resistor bank, otherwise that will explode, and that will not be too good. So there you go, that's stabilised now. As you can see, we can synchronise that in a second. I just want to get rid of some of this surplus steam because we're producing too much electricity. So what we'll do is we shall close the circuit breaker there. Green is now indicating we are putting it out onto the grid. And we're not going over the maximum limit there of 5,000. So there we are. We are currently now delivering 4,125 kilowatts onto the grid. The demand is 5,803. So, and again, as we currently stand, the best way of meeting that is just to reduce the amount of steam that is being bypassed, which in short will turn the generator producing more steam. Sorry, the steam will be going through the generator to produce more kilowatts. And then after that, it's pretty much a fine balance of hotter you keep the reactor core, which then goes into this system, and the faster or slower you have the pumps will in turn affect the amount of cooling required or needed, which then goes into the energy generation. So it's all a fine case of just tweaking the various systems to get the optimum amount of steam out of the system. And again, with this, unlike most games where you have currency, in this you have prestige points, which can be seen sort of the top left, the 2,000 figure. That's our current prestige. And in short, each hour that you service the demand needed in the game, you'll get a reward based on that, and you can go on to produce better circuits with upgraded pumps and efficiencies, so on and so forth. So again, if you have appreciated this video, like the video, then please consider hitting the like button and also that subscribe button for future videos both on this games and also other games of the tycoon and simulation genre. As ever, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.